Let's talk a little bit about your favorite league, Serie A, which, for a while we were saying, like, it's done. Why are we even talking about it? Bro, Napoli.
Who was saying that? When, where, and how?
Why is this last chapter?
Because it was not within swinging distance of me.
No, that's true. But why is this final chapter so hard for Napoli to close, bro?
Well, I mean...
Can I ask you, before you answer?
Yeah.
If Napoli win the Scudetto, that's a major accomplishment.
When? Yes, go ahead.
Okay, when? And they will.
And they will.
Do they also need to win Champions League?
For other reasons, yeah.
What, trying to keep Osimhen?
No, not just trying to keep Osimhen. It's one we've been saying, and this has been an argument for a while among just like Serie A analysts and peers and otherwise.
That Serie A is washed.
I mean, we're certainly not saying that because it's not true. But for people that are uninitiated, it gives Serie A and those sides that absolutely do deserve their shine the final bit of respect that they're owed. If they manage to do this, one, it also elevates them, the individual team, but also the league.
But obviously, also, won't they be the kings?
Influx of cash.
That's what I'm saying. Won't they be the kings of Serie A? Because nobody got money. Now they got money.
Right. Nobody was saying, I think within the last year or two, that we'd see a Serie A squad win Champions League. The timeline went anywhere, if I remember correctly, because I was keeping receipts on this, because I kind of said a couple years back, maybe we're like 3 to 5 years out from having a Serie A team winning Champions League. Mm-hmm. And I think that I'm somewhere right now, like kind of unschedule-ish there. But if I'm being honest,
you thought it was Juventus.
It's happening much quicker than I anticipated.
No, but thought it was Napoli. Not after getting rid of Dries Martins, Dybala was gone.
The thing was, so Dybala was Juve to Roma, but I didn't necessarily think that Juve were going to be the Champions League crowning achievement for at least for these seasons. They just have had too much happening within the last 5 years to actually get it together to be able to be that side. Now, could it be an Inter? Maybe. Could have argued that, right? AC Milan could have argued that. Napoli came out of the gate this season and overperformed anyone's expectations and scouted properly and yielded an amazing squad. So they're in the position now to absolutely do that. They're those guys. And it's so exciting to watch because they're playing really fun football, right? It's not just your usual classical Italian ball, which was, in essence, get a bunch of high utility players that could play anywhere and then win however you win. It wasn't necessarily the goal to score goals. It was, how do we best neutralize our opponent?
Right. And this is
different, right?
They've shined.
You're seeing a lot of things. And even today I was reading a story actually about the Napoli side saying like, hey, yeah, we played Milan in that first leg and obviously they lost, right?
Yeah, after losing to them in Serie A.
But also Milan have had some patchy spots in Serie A where you're like, what's happening?
Yeah.
For me, Milan's performance in the league makes sense because they don't have the depth. And so essentially they're rotating through this very weird, like changing the entire front four, where you're like, are you okay, guys? Like, it makes sense, but it is what it is. But one of the Napoli players had actually said, I think in the last 2 days, it was an interview, that Milan, which is smart, I'm not going to lie, okay? We're sort of jockeying for those yellows and reds on Kim and Jay. And already some of the other players were like, they had a little bit of tactical approach to getting them dismissed.
The long game.
Because now you have them sitting for this second leg aggregate and Milan don't have the depth that Napoli do to compete. So I'm like, if that's the case, right now it's allegedly that they were kind of trying to garner those calls. But like,
zoom in. You
get people sent off with yellows, you get them some reds, like everything's coming up, Diavoli.
I love it. You only get that in Serie A.
Oh yeah, Serie A is so spicy, and I don't understand how people don't love it because there's always something going on. There's just multitudes of things happening. It's our own.
Well, you got teams getting deducted 15 points. We've got like a
telenovela, right? And so,
what was the result of that? Did they ever decide?
It's not concluded yet. So right now, Juve are in 7th. They have taken some unnecessary losses recently that they really needed to win, especially more recently against Sassuolo.
Right, because they were competing for a Champions League spot, even with the 15-point deduction.
It's going to be really challenging at this point from 7th, where they're sitting, to get into the top 4, especially if they keep performing as they are, right? But I think they're onto something in terms of some of the personnel and the way they're using people. Now, certain mistakes happen, like against Sassuolo, Fagioli, the kids, right? You're finally playing the kids, which is what we were asking for so long. And yeah, the kids are going to make errors every once in a while. Right. It's not life or death, but unfortunately, when you need the results, you can't be losing to Sassuolo.
So do you think Napoli can get rid of the 1-0 aggregate right now over Milan?
2-0 aggregate.
I believe it's 1.
I thought it was 2.
No, just 1.
1.
No.
Okay. I do. I think that going into it, Spalletti will have a better game plan for sure. I think right now, Gio Simeone is out. Kim Min-jae is out. Who else off the top of my head? Drawn a blank. Probably from the crisp Coors Light, but
yes, you're so chill because it's a beer made to chill.
I'm too chill, but I do think that they can figure out how to outmaneuver Milan. Milan they don't have the depth. They haven't figured out. They haven't picked up essentially a Kessié replacement, which they should have from the jump. That's one of their big issues. Theo is their guy. I think as they've rotated through some of these other players, like Ballatore, like.
Yeah. You're not finding as much quality as you hoped.
Right, but like poor enough that I don't think that he's a poor defender, but he doesn't have the minutes. And so when you do actually cycle him through, it's just disjointed passes and mess. The chemistry isn't there. You kind of expose more of your weaknesses by doing that. And I understand it, but it's not a good look.
So one of the things that I love about Napoli is they got rid of, Dries Martins is gone. Koulibaly's gone. Dybala left previously, but they got rid of the spine.
You keep wanting to put Dybala on.
Was he
Napoli.
never there?
No.
Who's the guy who was up top that they got rid of?
Who you're thinking of is
Jose Callejon, maybe? He was there for a while.
No, he's at Toronto now.
Oh, Bernardeschi.
Insigne.
Oh, Insigne.
That's who I'm thinking of.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
short guys.
I'm like, who am I missing? Insigne.
All of our short kings.
All the short kings.
They all left.
I'm so sorry.
They all left in one fell swoop, which was why most of us.
And everyone thought they were going to stink, and now they're better. So here's my point, and here's my offer to you, Christine Cupo. Yes. You are now not only the head of education and defense, you are now also the director of football over at Napoli. Okay. You have been granted this by the Blangolan ministry.
I'll be sure to let Napoli
you don't win the Champions League. Okay, I'm going to give you the scenario. Napoli doesn't win Champions League, but you do win the Scudetto, right? You had a wonderful season, but it looks like the players you have and the depth you have is not enough to win Champions League. So some people come knocking for some of your players. So I'm going to give you 3 players that are gone, right, for big value. Okay, and I'll make these numbers up. Osimhen gone for 100 million euros. Okay, Kim gone for 80 million euros. Zielinski gone for 50 million euros. So now you have 50. That's 130. 230
Wait, I have
million.
to get rid of all 3 of them?
They're gone. You've sold them.
No, they're not.
No, okay. You're coming in after this. Okay, so now you have $230 million plus the money from the Scudetto. And you have enough money to now retool to try to win Champions League. Would you take that scenario? And do you think you have 230 million is enough money to go out and get 3 players? Would you not be the perennial kings of Serie A with that kind of money?
So the problem with the money to talent question that we're posing here is that it's assuming that there's a 1-to-1 for any of those players, right?
But you did it before,
risky, right?
You did it before.
Yes. But I would argue that Osimhen is very much a one of a lifetime kind of player. Okay?
Right.
So I don't think you're going to find a 1-to-1 like that, much in the way that the function of like Kessié in the Milan side.
I didn't even get rid of Kvara. Kvara stays.
Kvara is great,
right,
but you still need Osimhen. Osimhen is not the same player as Kvara. Osimhen brings a lot of things to the side that you're not going to get from another player that you may not get for 150 million euro going back out, right? I would absolutely try to hold fast to him, first and foremost, for sure. I would love to see Kim stick around because I think that he's someone that we can kind of help build the defense around. I love the Napoli defense. Zielinski also special skills in that he's just very much a string puller. He really gets that midfield together and gets everything moving.
Yeah.
If I had to, of the 3 of them, I would probably let go Zielinski if I could get a good bag for him. but I don't think that I would pull from essentially all three bits of our squad to like. Now that I'm actually the head of...
You're now the head of
I'm
Napoli.
like our squad, Napoli. I'm in charge of Napoli now, everybody. In case you're wondering, I'm going to get business cards printed tomorrow.
Lousy Val said, Alexis, you're thinking of Insigne. Thank you. We got there, but I didn't get a chance to read your comment early enough. Omar Ramirez said, only thing in Serie A's way of obtaining the Champions League title is a Norwegian player named Holland.
No. So the thing is, like, a lot of these arguments are going to come up, and Holland is otherworldly for sure. But it just means to me that you haven't been watching Napoli much. They're just, when you see a special side, you have to acknowledge it, irrespective of individual players. And like, yes, Holland is somebody that...
But Kim got exposed a little bit playing with Napoli. I mean, playing against Milan.
Yeah.
Do you not think that there's a chance that Holland kind of pulls his card a little bit? And Holland has been able to do this to everybody, so it's not necessarily
it's
a
not,
negative.
Right. It's not an affront to Napoli's defense,
right.
But they've been able to lock it down. I don't think that it's an unreasonable ask. I think that they can do it. But again, Holland is heads and shoulders a very, very different. He's not even human.